Improved Seeds on your first agricultural television in Nigeria, where we enlighten you and we explore all types of farming, techniques and knowledge to our farmers and viewers out there. It's another beautiful day, and I'm at a special place where I have an expert who is not just a farmer but an enlightened extension officer who is going to tell us about maize. I know you will say like, okay, I know how to cultivate maize. Why don't you sit right there? We'll be right back where I will introduce my guest to you, and then we're going to professionally explore maize cultivation. This is Improved Seeds. I am Hilda Homsem Flantuam. Welcome back. I have Mr. Adamu Usman Mohammed, an extension officer from Kaduna State. He is a developer and he is an expert that I told you and I promised you that he's going to explore on the crop maize. Welcome to the program, sir.
Thank you very much.
Doing, sir?
I'm doing fine.
How is Kaduna State?
Kaduna is doing well.
All right, sir.
Yes.
All right, sir. Let's go. I know a lot of people talk about maize and they believe that they know how to cultivate maize. Tell us, professionally, everything about the cultivation of maize, or zimi as they call it.
Thank you so much.
Yes, sir.
Cultivation of maize is one of the activity or one of the crop in agriculture that is very simple and straightforward if you have the knowledge. In the sense that it doesn't require much of activity as per se if you know it. First of all, to grow maize successfully, you need to select a suitable land that does not retain water, precisely a land that is mix of, let me be talking in extensions way, not professional way, so that farmers can be able to understand.
All right.
The sand should be a mixture of sandy and like clay, something like that. That the land should not retain water, because while growing maize, the land, we advise that farmers should select land that will not retain water. Yes. In maize productions, selections, apart from the selection of the soil, the sites, then you think of appropriate and recommended seed. Nowadays, because of the climate changes, companies that are producing seeds, and also seeds, National Seeds Development Council of Nigeria and the Research Institute are coming out with a variety of maize that would also perform better to counteract the effect of climate changes. There are those seeds that are drought resistance, some are striga resistance, and so many. Yes. Yeah.
So now we must get a good soil that does not retain water.
Exactly.
All right. So what about the selection of seeds? And you just said improve seeds. Now, so you prefer farmers to go into seeds?
Yes.
Improve seeds,
yes.
right?
Yes.
All right. So at what period do the farmer needs to start, cultivation?
The suitable period for a maize grower depends on the area where he is residing. What I mean here, farmers in Kaduna State has been recommended to grow their own maize when the rain is fully established. Establishment of rainfall in Kaduna State, looking at the geographical locations or set off of the state, the northern part of the state, farmers were recommended to start planting after preparing their land, planting their maize when the rain is fully established. That is around middle of June to first week of July. That is for the northern part of Kaduna State. While for the southern part of Kaduna is different. Reverse is the case because rainfalls established much more earlier in those regions compared to the northern part. So likewise in other parts of the state in Nigeria. So the appropriate time, depending on geographical location and the time by which the rainfalls properly established.
Oh.
Yeah.
Do we have irrigation farming for maize?
Yes, we do, of course.
Okay.
Nowadays, because of the issue of climate changes, during the raining period, that is the period when it is known that farmers are busy engaged in farming activities, likewise the maize producers as well. But due to the climate changes, rain usually ceases unprepared. So the productions usually used to be affected. As a result of that, the farmers are encouraged to go into irrigation farming, and of which in my state, Kaduna State, this is the tradition for a very long time. People are going into irrigation farming, and we are also encouraging farmers to go more into irrigation farming to counteract the effects of the climate change during the rainy season. Yeah.
All right, sir. With pests
Yeah.
and a lot of diseases affecting our crops now, what are some of the methods or ways at which you are able or you advise our farmers to control pests and diseases during in the cultivation of maize?
Thank you so much with discussions, because this is the prevailing problem that farmers are facing, issue of pests and diseases, particularly in maize productions. As a result of that, as I said earlier, farmers should be able to select viable seeds. Research institutes have developed, looking at the issue of the pest, the research institute has developed seeds that will withstand these effects to a certain level. But the pest that usually affect maize is what we call the fall armyworm. And the fall armyworm is really a disturbing pest. But yet, there are some research institutes that are doing their best, like the IAR, like there is a center in Kano. I know that they are creating awareness to the farmers and coming out with a remedy to say the pesticides that would control the effects of damaging this crop. This particularly what I'm saying is the fall armyworm. So there is an effort that is being done by the research institutes, seed producers, as well as the extensions personnel in creating awareness to farmers to counteract the damage that is being done by the pest, particularly the fall armyworm. This is one of the problems that is affecting. More also, like last year, 2022, farmers has faced a lot of problem due to the climate changes. What I mean here is this: by the time a farmer grow his maize and during the rainy season, and if there is a dry spell, when there is a cessation of rainfall for at least 1 or 2 weeks, some nematodes, that is the pests from the ground, usually attack the roots of the plants. Last year, farmers lost a lot of maize in their farms as a result of it. But thank God that, as I said, the research and awareness is being created. This problem has been taken care of. Yes.
So can you enlighten us on some of the methods that was carried out, in coping that situation?
What the method that has been advising farmer is first, they should be patient to wait until when the rain properly established. Second, they should also ensure that they source their seeds in a reputable company that will help them to at least survive, even if there is such a of rainfall during the rainy season. Yeah, these are the simple information we pass to farmers for them to be able to succeed in this production.
All right, sir, for fertilizer, most farmers now go into organic farming.
Yes.
Is that advisable in maize too, in maize cultivation?
This is a serious issue. The world is campaigning. Professionals are trying to convince farmers to go into organic farming using organic fertilizer. Companies has developed a lot of fertilizers in liquid form, organic in nature, but maize is a heavy fertilizer consuming. These fertilizers, what I mean organic fertilizers, actually responds to maize at vegetative growth. But when it comes to fruit formations, that's where the problem is. I don't know. As I'm talking, maybe the company engaged in organic fertilizer, they need to look at these things to think twice and improve their organic fertilizer. Otherwise, as a practical farmer, working with the farmers in rural communities, in fact, personally, I coordinate a program by a company, we call it Anko, Private Anko Borrower Company. This company supplies over 143 million worth of organic fertilizer to our agency. But there's a problem. At the beginning, as I said, the crop beautifully responds to the organic fertilizer. But at a stage when the crop needs to start producing crops, it needs more fertilizer, heavy fertilizer. The organic fertilizer doesn't react. So instead of that, farmers prefer to go into conventional fertilizer, chemical fertilizer. But it's a very good idea to go into production using organic fertilizer. This is what I can say. Yeah.
All right, if you're still with us, this is Improved Seeds, and I'm with Mr. Amadou, who is really enlightening us on maize cultivation. He said the best way is for us to be patient. Let's use the right seed, right soil, right timing of rain to cultivate our maize. We'll go on a short break. When we come back, we'll tell you, the market, the value chain that is attached to maize cultivation. This is Improved Seeds on your first agricultural television in Nigeria. We'll be right back. Welcome back. I'm with Mr. Adamu Usman Mohammed, an extension officer from Kaduna State, who is exploring, the cultivation of maize. So, sir, in land preparation, what would you advise our farmers? Should they go manually or mechanically? Which one gives us more yielding and which one is preferable? Putting in mind the large farm, the hectares, that our farmers go into.
This is a very interesting question, and here I would want to say the best for land preparations. When we talk of land preparation, we are talking of plowing, harrowing, and ridge constructions. Now, the plowing and harrowing, adversely, though it is cost, but going into mechanized using tractors or simple motorized machinery that are now developing is the best way. It is expensive, but it's very helpful because when you tilt your land, here, you plow and you harrow using tractors or simple, small motorized tractors. It helps the farmer because in the sense that it breaks the loam soils into very small particles, which will allow the retention of water for a very long time. If a farmer use mechanized or those machines, it will help, particularly that we are facing climate changes. Rain ceases at the midst of rainy season. So if the land is being prepared using tractors, it will retain water for at least 1 week or so. So even if there is a shortage of rain, the land that has been properly prepared using tractors would help the crop to absorb, to utilize the moisture that's in the soil. So we advise farmers to at least go into cooperative. Even if a single farmer cannot afford to pay for the service of a tractor, let's say in a particular area of, if farmers are having less than a hectare, 1.5, 0.4 hectares, within that area they should organize themselves to call for a service of a tractor and pay at a time, because tractor can work within a short time possible. This will help them a lot.
Thank you so much. All right, so in harvesting now,
Yes.
how do we harvest? What is the best method to harvest? How do we store it? Because a lot of farmers now use chemicals that affect the consumers. So what is your best advice?
Let me start by answering you on the harvest before talking of the storage. In maize production, I'm always referring to the smallholder farmer, because those are the large number of the farmers that contribute in the production of food in the country, and they have a very small size of farm. So the method of their harvest usually is by manual. Those that are big-time farmers, they employ the service of machineries, combine harvesters. But to be frank, majority of the farmers are using hand labor to harvest their crops. Whichever they did is okay. The only thing is, farmer should be able to understand when is the appropriate time for him to harvest his maize. Here, I mean, the farmer should not allow or leave his farm to over dry before harvesting. There should be a little moisture content in the crops, of which extensions agents are advising farmers to ensure that, to test if the retaining water capacity in the moisture, the moisture content in the grain has reached a certain level. There's a physical or a common way that extensions advises farmer. When the farmer knows that the crops reach to that moisture content level, it is, that it is ready for the harvest. So that is it. Yeah.
So for the storage?
And for the storage, usually farmer producer is advised that he has to ensure that the grain is properly dried in such a way that even if he takes his grain after shelling, bagging, take it to the soil, the moisture content is having the required minimum moisture content that can retain in the store without forming some fungi. So that is the level at which the farmer is advised to sow his maize crop. And in doing so, there is need for him to fumigate. When I say fumigate, there are some recommended fumigation chemicals that are advised that are not harmful to the human health. So those are the fumigation I'm referring to. At the same time, there are other chemicals though nowadays we don't advise, because the research institute like the IIET had developed a special bag that a farmer, if he uses without putting a single drop of any chemical, he can store his grain to almost, let's say, 6 months or almost a year without pests being attacking or destroying the maize grain. So this is my advice to the farmers.
Now, how do the women get involved in this? Where do they play their role in cultivation of maize?
This is also a beautiful question. As in my relation, I'm from Kaduna State.
Yeah.
From the record, Kaduna is the leading maize producers in the country. So when you talk of women and you're talking of maize productions, in Kaduna State, women are there. At some certain areas, let me be precise, if you go to Lere local government, the way women are going into maize production, you'll be surprised. But then, there are some other activities that women are left with the women.
Some activities basically are left for the women.
Yes.
Such as
The winnowing.
the winnowing.
Yes.
Why?
I think it's because of the cultural, and sometimes because winnowing is an activity that doesn't require much drudgery or consume
Are you
energy.
sure?
Of course.
Do you know what it means for you to carry a whole bucket, put it, come back, turn it? Oh.
It's not necessary they will use bucket. You know,
Okay.
there is what we call it. I don't know how what will I call it?
Like a
Sieve.
Okay.
Now technology has improved the the level at which, or the way the winnowing is being carried out. A sieve is being carried out. It's just left for the person or the woman that will, winnow it to put. As long as you just take it, it will just blow the unwanted things to carry out.
So,
Yes.
I'm interested now. Does
Yeah.
that mean it's forbidden for men to winnow, or it's just something of culture, of something that cannot be changed? And what advice I feel now with your exposure, don't you think some things should be broken? Because I know some women who hoe now to cultivate, to plow.
Exactly.
So if women are beginning to hoe, equipment as such, why can't maybe the other agenda too, does the win-win and
we are in the technology wall of changes. There's nothing that cannot be changed. Even the winnowing that I mentioned is predominantly left with the women. It can also be done by the men. Yes.
So for the markets now, how is maize markets now, and how do you cope with middlemen involvement? And for now, maize is increasing by the day. We don't know why, because recently we heard it's 170 upaso per mudu, depending on the state, of course. So how is the market involvement now, and the middlemen involvement in the marketing aspect of maize cultivation?
Let me say, in an extension point of view, in the past, middlemen play a great role in marketing maize, leaving the poor farmer with the little. But nowadays, the extensions approach is to sensitize farmers to form into groups, cooperatives, especially during the marketing aspect of the crop. Also, we advise them, except those that are desperate. Most of the production is done by smallholder farmers, so they don't have alternative. But all the same, extension activities is geared towards sensitizing farmers to be patient, form group, source market for themselves without necessarily depending on the middleman. Yes.
And does that control the price, the pricing in the market?
Yeah, because of the sensitization. You see, only when a farmer take his product at harvesting period, so he found out the price is not appreciable at that period. But our advice is at extensions angle is that they should be patient. And besides, there are some business aspect of this. We call it warehouse aggregators. They build their warehouses. Some segments of business in marketing, they build warehouses, and through the advices of the extension, telling farmers to be patient, not to carry out the whole of their produce at harvesting period when the price is too low. So those owner of the warehouses try to educate the farmers. If a farmer is selling his produce at harvest because he don't have enough store, so there is an alternative. A store is built by someone, is also a form of business for him to keep the grains when the price is appreciable. Sometimes owner of those stores also source for the market for their farmers, and they are going to sell to them as the price that is going to be reasonable or appreciable.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you too.
It's really a pleasure having you on the program.
Same with me.
This is Improved Seeds on your first agricultural television. I'm Mr. Adamu Usman Muhammad, an extension officer with Kaduna Development Agency, who has explored all about maize and the things we need to take in mind in preparation of cultivating maize. If you enjoyed this episode, just sit right back and keep a date with us for another episode of the program. This is Improved Seeds, and I am Hilda from Self-Frantuam, urging you to take good care of yourself and eat good and healthy food. Bye from here.